What's happening, gym owners? Coach Joe here with a salty old strength coach rant for you and a PSA message for young strength coaches, college students, and people who want to go into the industry of strength. I am in the process of interviewing people for jobs and our summer internship at Varsity House. And what I'm noticing over the past several years, now it's not just something that's this year, it's been going on and on for, I would say, quite a few years, but I have noticed that in the wake of the pandemic, in the wake of COVID in 2020, since 2021 and beyond, since life has gone more virtual, digital, and so forth, that the process has sped up quite a bit. And what I'm noticing is that young people don't read at all, right? And now I know that that's a lot of people are saying, yeah, no kidding, but it's shockingly bad, to the point where as I'm speaking to people and I ask them who are their inspirations, who do they want to model their training after, where are they getting information from, it's literally a blank stare of nothing. And almost every one of them across the board is Instagram, YouTube videos, stuff like that. And I'm gonna rattle off a few names here, so if I don't mention one of my friends, I apologize. But you have to go backwards to go forwards in just about everything. And the foundation of strength was laid by people who put in an enormous amount of work, writing, education, tutelage, mentorship, and turned out somewhere probably in the realms of tens of thousands of other world-class coaches, and before there was ever even a social media. And it's like we forgot about those people, and somebody who's 18, 19, 21 years old right now is worried about somebody who has 2 million followers and hasn't written a book or hasn't done any credible research or never trained in a real setting and sits behind a computer and breaks the algorithm with viral posts and things like that, as opposed to publishing research, starting a great mentorship, internship program, and is known for developing greatness, right? So, going way back, obviously the Mel Sifs, the Verkhoshenskis and stuff like that of the Russian Soviet, Union, and the Charlie Francis of the world, the Charles Paulquins, the Louis Simmons, the Dave Tates, even, right? The my buddy Zach Evanesh. I mean, name another guy who's written more books and puts more stuff out every single day than Zach, right now. Not a lot of people. The Mike Boyles of the world, the Eric Cresties of the world. Okay? Great coaches out there doing awesome stuff. And I think like Joe DeFranco, Jay Ferrugia, if you're in the, adult, over 40, want to live your best life hack. I mean, Jay's still one of my absolute favorites. I mean, his podcast is still my number one. 10 years, 15 years, whatever it's been. I love Jay's stuff. You learn so much from it. And it's like these people are forgetting about because they don't have millions of followers, they're not flashy, and they're just doing the old school stuff over and over and over again on repeat. And not to mention the countless number of collegiate strength and conditioning coaches who were literally changing people's lives, running, graduate programs, mentoring other strength coaches, developing thousands of world-class athletes, and then some of them have 2,000 followers, and it's like they're not even worried about social media, and it's like they don't exist. The Kelly Starretts, the even Brett Contreras, guys like that who's got a lot of followers, right? And he's the glue guy, but he does great stuff. And it's like it makes me so upset when I rattle off a bunch of names, and some of the people that I would consider like the Mount Rushmore of strength, and they're staring at me, and they're wondering why, when you get out of college with a degree in exercise science, your earning potential is basically shit, absolute shit, garbage. And you wonder why. Because you've done nothing all 4 years of college except the bare requirement of taking your classes and doing a 1 semester of an internship. Now, to me, that's a problem with the whole system here in America. Now, there might be some other schools out there that are doing a little bit better, but in my experience, we've got interns from dozens of schools all over the country, and it's the same problem. They get 1 semester of strength and conditioning, or of an externship or an internship where they're doing an internship. So that's why we lean towards athletes, because we know they've spent a lot of time in the weight room, and the ability to get them to become a competent and capable coach is much faster, because at least they have training experience and they're usually fitter. I'm interviewing people and they're telling me that this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives. They would love to train and to get work for an NFL team, and they're not even in shape. They don't even look like they work out. I'm like, and I'm not saying you got to be, you don't have to be 300 pounds of ripped muscle. You don't have to be Ronnie Coleman. But I mean, what are we doing here? And I ask them about their training, like, it's like, a little bit here. Right now I'm busy. It's like, no, nothing. And I mean nothing got in the way of my training. I would move my classes around to make sure I could train. Big Mike, when I met Big Mike, it took him 6 years to do college because he wouldn't miss workouts. He wouldn't miss training. And he was competing in strongman. So, he was, in a sense, like already on a competitive track at 20 years old. There's a reason why he's been with me for 17 years. The reality is that you don't want it. Kids don't want it. Kids don't want to delay gratification. You have to give something up. You have to give a piece of yourself to something in order to get greatness out of it. A piece of you has to die in the weight room, to use an analogy, right? When I spoke to Dave Tate and we were on on his podcast, we talked about a lot of, what it takes to be great in the business side of things. And a lot of what we talked about and was Dave's mentality of like, I'm going to die in the squat rack. I'm going to die in the gym. And, I want to be able to squat a certain amount of weight for as long as humanly possible. And once a year, Dave suits up, goes to Plaid, and gives it everything he's got because he's given his life to it. And I think like, a piece of me died in the gym trying to create this life, trying to create this business, trying to mentor young people, trying to be great at something. I've lost friendships. I lost a marriage. I gave up time, energy, attention, money, you name it, to run a business, to do something special, to be different, to create something that, most people wouldn't, or didn't otherwise have the, wherewithal to do. And when I tell people that it took me a decade of working 6-7 days a week, 50-60 hours a day, opening the gym at 5 a.m., closing the gym at 9 p.m. to make any real money, they look at me like I have 6 heads. And I'm like, your earning potential as a private sector strength coach is at best, coming out of college, $50K at best. And a lot of those places, you're expected to sell. And if you don't hit your monthly quotas, you're out. So I don't know, what they're teaching in college, but they sure hell's ain't teaching any business. And they're not doing kids a service in the college sector with an exercise science degree, giving them almost no options. What do you do with an exercise science degree if you don't become a trainer? And what do? You do nothing. You wasted money on college is what you do. Right? Nutrition's another one. That's another one. I love that. Nutrition and dietetics, worst degree ever. Ridiculous. Okay? The likelihood of you making any money is like single-digit percentages. So what are these? Where do we go with this, and how do we improve this? What can I do to make it better? I think we run one of the best internship programs in the summertime in the country, and we educate, motivate, and inspire. But you have to want to be educated, motivated, and inspired in order to get there in the first place. And I'm noticing it's getting harder and harder and harder to find people who are like we used to be, savages, right? Who the gym was life. Gym tan laundry, baby. Let's go. Bring back the Jersey style meathead who can't live without the gym, who lives for being jacked and ripped. The girls and guys who, train all week long just so they can go out on the weekends and look good. Let's bring that back. I want to give you more of the antidote and positive side, as obviously, my negative spin from part one is that a larger and larger percentage of young professionals are failing to do the basics. One, get super jacked and fit, right? Whether you're a guy or a girl, get fit, for God's sakes, get fit. If you're not an athlete and you want to break into the industry, I'm sorry that it's the truth, but aesthetics, story, and passion matter a lot. And what it tells me that you when you're fit is that you care, right? That you love training and you love fitness, and at least we have that to go with, right? So that's one. So here's what I would do if I was a young professional wanting to actually be great in the realm of personal training, strength and conditioning coach, private sector, or otherwise. Maybe you want to open up your own gym one day. Here's the blueprint of what I did and a lot of other strength coaches from my day did, but now we have the help of AI, we have the help of information, we have the ease of access that we never had. So here's what I would do. Number one, I would master the basics. I would follow somebody. I would go to powerathlete.com and I would download a great workout from my friend John Wellborn, and I would get to training. I would maybe connect with a mentor locally if that's not possible, and I would get on a great training program, and I would get to training, and I would put myself through the most badass 52-week training cycle known to man. I would try powerlifting cycles, I would try a bodybuilding cycle, I would try an athletic performance cycle, I would try a functional training cycle, maybe. And I would do a variety of different things, incorporating different methods into my training program that year to test out what I think works best for me, and then start to form a system of training. That would happen ideally right after high school or before. In my case, I was training all through high school pretty religiously on a pretty hardcore lockdown plan. I did Cybergenics, I did IcoPro, I did the workouts out of the back of Flex magazine. I spent a whole summer doing Dorian Yates's back workout, and to my dismay, my back never looked like his. I don't know why, but I abused my body physically in the gym to achieve not a physical aesthetic goal, although that was part of it, but to learn, right? And the best way to learn is to do. So that's number one. Number two, you got to get a mentor. So I mentioned my buddy John. There's lots of other great online coaches out there, but an in-person mentor can change your life. And so joining the local gym, finding a cool barbell club, a place where people actually train, and making friends with the people there that are already physically jacked, fit, and ready. Maybe you want to do a show, maybe you want to try powerlifting, maybe you want to compete in a strongman comp. Get a mentor to show you and help you program and really take you under your wing. You'll learn more from a mentor, or in our case, a summer internship, than you will in most four-year colleges when it comes to the actual X's and O's of training. Number three is, and I'm going to say this lightly, I probably wouldn't go to school for exercise science unless you were truly passionate about it, only because it limits your earning potential. And if it doesn't turn out that you're going to be a personal trainer or strength coach, you're going to be with a degree that doesn't have a lot of flexibility. So I might major in business with a minor in exercise science and take my courses elsewhere. I know that pisses a lot of purebreds out there, but I don't have a degree in exercise science. My degree is in molecular biology, human physiology. Obviously, I had a great understanding of the human body, but I didn't take the traditional exercise science classes, as I was already way past their level of knowledge by the time I got to high school. So, but that's something I would do, because again, when we're looking at the big picture here, and the majority of us are going into private sector, the vast majority of people are going to make money in the private sector in the realm of strength and conditioning and personal training. And the private sector is a sales, marketing, and business job. It is not just an X's and O's job. In the collegiate and pro world, you're skewed way towards more of the performance metrics than you are in the private sector. In the private sector, you can be the best coach in the world. If you can't sell and you can't market, you're out of business. So that's one. So take your course load respectively. Be careful about that. If you're truly, truly passionate about strength and conditioning and you know you love it and there's no other path but you, and you want to do exercise science, then minor in business and or marketing to have a better understanding of some of the key components of running a small business. Whether you want to own your own or work for somebody else, your ability to contribute to the bottom line is mission critical to progression in the field. After that, I would do an internship every summer. This is a mistake that I see a lot of young people making. They wait till the school tells them. I had 3 conversations with students this summer that I would have given them the opportunity to intern with us on the spot because they were good candidates. And they called me back and said, oh, my advisor says I should wait till the fall because that's when they'll approve my credits. Well, I have a spot now, and if you want it, it's yours. Well, I don't want to do it without credits. You don't want it. I did an internship every summer for 5 years straight. Every single summer I interned at another gym. I interned with somebody else. I traveled around the country. On my own dime, on my own money. I slept in my damn car. I went to Arizona. I went to Ohio to train at Westside, right? You have to put yourself out there, right? You got to go. I used to go to all the Burn with Vern, Tom Shaw, right? Hammer strength clinics. I was at them all, right? Because I wanted to learn. And every summer I worked at a gym and trained people all through college. My whole career I did that. If you're not willing to go out and learn on your own dime because you would rather rent a shore house with your friends and party your ass off all summer long and work at a bar, that's on you, man. Don't come complaining to me when you're applying for jobs and there's not a lot of movement and people are telling you, well, you can work for us, but you're gonna make $40,000 a year. And you went to Springfield College and spent $55,000 a year on your degree. Giddy up. Intern every year and work. Next up is, how about work at a gym? If you want to be, a lot of my students who are exercise science majors think they want to be physical therapists. And I hate to break it to them, but the vast majority of them aren't going to make it all the way through. That's just the unfortunate reality of that, right? So you have to have an option there. And if you want to be a physical therapist, go become a certified trainer. Same exact job, same everything, except I'm prescribing exercises, weight sets, and reps to prescribe a desired physical outcome, hopefully preventing injuries and improving performance. And on the physical therapy side, I'm usually getting somebody post-injury, post-rehab, post-surgery, and I'm rebuilding them back to function and ability and performance, right? Very little difference other than a couple certificates and some basic things that you can do from a modality standpoint, like maybe, stim and like, needling and things like that. Some stuff you can't do as a personal trainer, but you should work in the field. I get it that you need a job. I get it that maybe there's not a great gym by you. I get it that blah, blah, blah. I had 3 students, 3 people I interned, 3 people I interviewed this month tell me that driving to the gym was too far for them. One of them was 35 minutes, another one was 45 minutes. Like, really? That's too far for a world-class education and a world-class team that's produced dozens and dozens of awesome strength coaches and through our internship program? Like, I don't understand. That you don't want it. You don't want it. And last but not least, we covered this in part 1. You got to read the basics. You got to read some of the basic stuff out there. You should be reading, the old Russian manuals. You should be reading, the Book of Essentials. You should be reading, at the very least, get the NCAA, the NSCA Strength and Conditioning Essentials, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it is, right? Read Super Training by Mel Siff. Read the Book of Methods by Louis Simmons. Read MMA Conditioning by Joel Jamieson. Read the Underground Strength, encyclopedia by my boy Zach, right? There's a million other things that you could read and learn from. Start following credible people who've produced research, who are out there doing great things. Stop following charlatans, right? It's not following Insta chicks and Insta dudes, right, with abs. That's not the litmus test. But the workload before the job determines the outcome of the career. So get out there and giddy up.